Welcome back to Toriko Anime Review. This is part 7, and this one I'm reviewing the final 24 episodes of the Toriko is known as the Four Beasts arc. hmm And this one takes up a bunch of chapters. Out of all the arcs for the entire series, this one's by far the longest one. This took up like several books. I mean, most of the arcs I've read for this series, with the exception of the first couple of them, do take about 2 or 3 books apiece. This one felt like it took about 5 or 6 books, which this arc makes it the longest arc of the entire series. Now, this arc covers chapters 210 to 263. That is exactly 54 chapters, which makes this particular arc not only the longest arc of the anime, but also the longest arc of the manga. Yep, the following arcs are not as long as this one is. Now, for the most part, up until the final, let's say, 2 episodes, this particular arc does follow the manga really, really well. There's no major change. Mostly everything's the same. The only major change, of course, is throwing Tina, obviously. But, yeah, we have Toriko and Kamatsu going to the Baron Apicoli, I think is the name of the place. The place where they actually fought the Goralligator way back in episode 2. Yeah, they actually go back to that. And they mention what happened in the previous arc where this beast thing destroyed all the creatures there. And they're to hunt down this plant beast, which they do. They take it out roughly a couple episodes. It's a really fun little thing to see. And let's see. For the most part, when it comes to cooking festivals, up until the Gourmet Core attack, it proceeds exactly the way it does in the manga. I mean, it's surprising to see some of these chefs, some of whom hadn't been seen for a while, let me see, what's a good one? Some of these chefs were in fact seen in the previous arc, like Liberman, Chodru, trying to think. Yeah, there was several of them who were seen in the previous arc, and they come back in this one, which is nice. The fact they did that. And then when the Gourmet Core attack, not only did they have the 4 Heavenly Kings basically doing their own battles, but the chefs get on the action as well, and they get their own brawl with the Scum Beast. Yeah, that's what they call them. Even the Gourmet Knights and the Gourmet Mafia get on the fun, and it turns into an all-out brawl between we have the Heavenly Kings, the chefs, the Gourmet Knights, and the Gourmet Mafia taking on the Gourmet Core, which is amazing. It is one action-packed arc. I mean, yeah. I mean, they do have it where in the manga where Toriko defeats Sergeant. Here, there's no decisive winner. The battle was put on hold because Joa shows up, and of course Toriko does battle him and defeats him. I don't remember him actually fighting him in the manga because it's been a little while since I've actually seen this. Now, for the most part, I had heard from my friend Edgar that this arc, that I would say up until these last 2 or 3 episodes, people are pretty much happy with that. And then comes this thing where Toriko comes up with this out of nowhere thing where he can turn into his own demon for 1 episode, and then Kamatsu calms him down and becomes this it's kind of like something that you expect for a Super Saiyan type of thing. This strange thing come completely out of nowhere. Toriko defeats Joa, and Joa gets away. Yeah, he gets away, along with the rest of Neo. And Sergeant walks away perfectly fine. Also, in this particular arc, the president of the IGO, he actually dies in this arc in the manga. Here, he survives. Mandora doesn't kill him. He lets him live. He's brought to the hospital where Chief Manson is, which everybody calls him Handsome, even though that this particular line actually was taken from a different character because it was Reen who finally called him Handsome, and in the manga it was somebody else. And in the manga, they actually offered him the presidency because, well, Ichiru died, and since the VP defected to Neo, so he's the obvious choice. Here, it's questionable if Ichigo is going to continue as the president, because in the manga, Manson becomes president and he grows his hair back. Though I'm still wondering, why does he have gears in his bald head? I have no idea. That by far has never been explained. Also, Reen doesn't hang out with Toriko that much these last couple episodes. Like she doesn't even eat near him for some reason. I have no idea why. Because normally when she's eating in the anime, she's always sitting like right next to Toriko. And then for this episode, for some strange reason, she's on the other side of Manson's bed for some reason when Komatsu comes to serve her this simple soup. I have no idea why the animators did that for, because normally she's always near Toriko because she always wants to be with him. Here, it's nothing. Also, Toriko gets defeated by Stargen, and this happens in the manga. He gets defeated by him, and he gets depressed, and he loses his appetite. So Naki Master Jiro comes in and talks to him for a while, and gets him back his appetite. And of course, Komatsu is taken by the Gourmet Corps in the manga, and Mandor tells the ships, the first one tell me to get me to say the word yum gets to go home. Komatsu volunteers, makes the thing, says yum, but he stays because he wants to wait for Toriko, which he does, according to the time skip that happens in the manga. He's for him for pretty much, according to what I know about it, he waits 6 months, Toriko picks him up, and he spends a year in Gourmet World. He comes back, and of course this happens to start building Bird arc, and also the three of the four Heavenly Kings actually, well, they go to Coco's house, and they talk about this rock Coco found, which apparently when Zebra touches it, it absorbs some of his calories. And it turns out this is actually from the original Earth, basically near the Earth's core. So they have to figure out exactly and of course because the president died, they have to pretty much give out his full course. And one of the things in his full course was the Billion Bird thing. So, and I'm going to talk about a little bit of what happens after this particular arc. Just the Billion Bird thing. I will talk about the rest in another video. Pretty much after the time skip, Toriko and Komatsu come back. Everyone gets reunited with everybody, and then when Reen sees him, this is probably the most shocking thing that happens in this whole arc. When she sees Reen, when Reen sees Toriko, she basically says, "Marry me," to Toriko. And he says, "Sure, I'll marry you." And everybody's like shocked, even Reen. So she asks him again. It's like asking to marry her again, and he says, "Okay." And so he's like, "What? They get engaged? Wow!" And of course they go out, and later on they go get the Billion Bird, and the whole thing is redistributed to everybody because actually it's more depressing than it is in the anime, where everybody's like happy and everything is like rebuilding is like in less than 3 months. When Toriko and Komatsu come back, the whole world is still in ruins. Yeah, the human world is still in ruins when they come back from their journey. Yeah, and of course Manson got full head of hair, and also Toriko gets new attire. Like, it's still the same color scheme. It's more like a jacket, more bigger jacket. In the case of Reen, she gets a longer outfit. Her hair is grown out, and she's taken over Manson's position as chief of research for Isotope 1. And throughout the rest of the manga, she's referred to as, well, she's basically Toriko's fiance up until the God arc, which I haven't read yet because but that arc is when they get married. Yep. But yeah, that arc is really good. I don't know why in the world they changed the ending of the Cookie Festival arc to basically what happened in the anime. It's an okay. I thought it was okay. I didn't hate it like everybody else. I heard that apparently everybody despised this ending and just wrote off the anime as like never happening at all. And I'm kind of like, okay, I get the fact they changed the ending of the arc, but I'm not throwing a fit about it like everybody else did. Yeah, apparently like a lot of people threw a fit, and luckily enough the animators didn't get death threats for this. I haven't heard anything about that at all, but I don't really know why they decided to change the ending of the arc. Even though, yes, the ending of the arc is depressing. But guess what? It's kind of the same thing with the end of the Sasuke Retriever arc. It's a bit depressing, but a bit happy at the end of it. And it's kind of the same thing with some other series I've watched when they have time skips, stuff like this. Like, what's a good example? How about, let's say, One Piece? It's a bit depressing at the end, but it's a happy moment. And Yeah, but here it's like everything is like smiley happy. Yeah, there's no depressing things at all at the end of this thing. I mean, nobody. I mean, they kept the president of the IGO alive at the end, which I still tend to wonder why was that change made. I mean, I get maybe making Mandara, um, like kind of reforming him in a way, make him sort of a good guy, and of course the episode ends like end of the human world arc. Yeah, that's what you see just after the credits, and yeah. So the Cookie Festival arc, in my honest opinion, is a really good arc up until like the last couple episodes. Yeah, I get kind of the reason why people were upset about the ending of this particular arc, but up until this very arc, the anime went really well. I mean, yeah, there were changes obviously, but it wasn't like big changes or drastic ones like it was for the last two episodes of the series. But the Cooking Festival arc in the manga is really good, even though it has a bit of a depressing, but there's a little bit of hope at the end. Here, there's like, oh, smiley happy, everything gets rebuilt, even though in the manga that didn't happen at all. Yeah, though also when the four Hermit Kings go to the Gourmet World in the manga, they go together with Kamatsu. Yep, that's what happens. But for the most part, I thought the ending was okay. I didn't hate it. I just thought it was okay. It's good animation wise. It's just that I don't understand why in the world the changes had to happen in the first place. And why in the world did the animators thought it'd be a good idea to insult the fans with these final two episodes. I mean, if you want to bring back the anime, you can just you can have it where you can kind of ignore these last couple you can just have it where you have a two-parter that starts up like a new Toriko series that ignores these last two episodes and kind of changes the ending of the anime to reflect what happened in the manga. That's probably what I would do to make people happy, and then proceed normally like right afterwards to adapt the final few arcs of the manga. That's what I would do in order to make people happy. All right, but otherwise though, pretty good arc up until the ending. I was a bit disappointing. I was disappointed. I was a little bit disappointed, but I didn't outright hate it. That's just my opinion on the matter. I mean, everybody else has other opinions about this particular arc, anyways. I mean, yeah, it's a fantastic arc in the manga, but I think that this particular arc made sense to do. I mean, you gotta have a big epic arc before you have a time skip. In Bleach, it was the ending of the Rancor arc. For Naruto, it was Sasuke retrieval. In One Piece, it was basically Marineford that kind of led into post war and of course led into time skip. But you gotta have something big and epic like this before you basically have like a halfway point where you jump ahead a certain period of time. A lot of the time is usually 2 years. hmm But this one is actually the second shortest one I've seen so far. The shortest time skip I've seen is 17 months. That was in Bleach. This one was 18 months. Yeah, but God forbid we actually do something like what the manga did, but I'm just a fan. I'm just a person who makes videos on YouTube. Alright? So, that's it for this video. Stay tuned for part 8, where I'm going to talk about the rest of this particular manga. Of course, that was briefly about the Billion Bird stuff. I'm going to talk about, when I get a chance to finish reading it, I am personally going to talk about Air, Pair, Another, and God. I'm going to talk about the last 4 arcs of the manga. Billion Bird covers chapters 264, 271. It's roughly a pretty quick arc. It's only like 8 chapters. Yeah, it's not very long. So you can probably get through this very quickly. Yep. This arc was collected in one book. Unlike in the case of Cooking Festival, this was collected about 6 or 7, but yeah, it's a long arc. Like I said, it is 54 chapters total. The longest arc of the entire series. Alright, so until I see you for part 8, where I talk about the final 4 arcs of the series, plus my overall final thoughts of the anime. I'll talk about that in part 8. Part 9, I will talk about the short film, Toriko, and its short that came after that, okay? And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.